The call came at 2:17 a.m., slicing through the silence of the penthouse like a blade. "Daniel," the woman whispered, her voice shaking, "they're coming for my son." Daniel Blackwood froze. He hadn't heard that voice in 18 years, not since the night he signed divorce papers with hands that didn't tremble enough to betray his guilt. "I never wanted to call you," she continued, breath ragged, fear naked. "But I have no one else." Before he could speak, the line went dead. And with that silence, a buried past clawed its way back into his life. Before we begin, click subscribe, like this video, and comment what time it is that you're watching this video. Your support helps us bring more wonderful stories, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Now let's begin. Daniel Blackwood had built his empire on certainty. Markets could be predicted. People could be managed. Weakness could be eliminated. Love, he believed, was the only variable he had ever miscalculated. 18 years earlier, Daniel was not yet the steel-eyed billionaire the world feared and admired. He was 32, already wealthy, already powerful, but still raw around the edges. His marriage to Evelyn Hart Blackwood had begun like a fairy tale the media devoured. A self-made tech magnate and a brilliant, soft-spoken architect who refused to live in his shadow. At first, their differences thrilled them. Daniel was relentless, driven by control. Evelyn was intuitive, guided by meaning. She designed spaces for people to feel safe. He designed systems to dominate competitors. But power changes people. Daniel's company went public. Overnight, he became a god in a tailored suit. Meetings bled into nights. Travel replaced intimacy. Decisions replaced conversations. Evelyn tried to tell him she felt lonely. Daniel heard accusations. Then came the fights. Sharp words. Cold silences. Lawyers whispered poison into Daniel's ears about assets, risks, reputations. One night, after a brutal argument, Evelyn packed a suitcase and left their glass mansion without looking back. She didn't know yet. 2 weeks later, the divorce papers arrived. Daniel signed them within minutes. He didn't ask for reconciliation. He didn't ask questions. He didn't notice Evelyn's trembling hands. And he never knew that, at that very moment, she was carrying his child. Evelyn found out the truth alone in a clinic bathroom, gripping a sink as the world tilted. She considered calling Daniel. She imagined his skepticism, his lawyers, his doubt. She decided her child deserved better than a man who saw everything as a liability. So she disappeared, changed her last name back to Hart, moved across the country, started over. And Daniel Blackwood became a billionaire who told himself he had no regrets. Until the call. Daniel replayed the voicemail for the 10th time. "They're coming for my son. Not me. Not us. My son." The words struck him harder than any market crash ever had. He mobilized instantly. Private investigators. Cybersecurity teams. Lawyers who owed him favors and fear. Within hours, he had a location, a quiet coastal town, modest, forgettable, safe. Or so Evelyn had believed. Daniel flew out at dawn, his private jet slicing through clouds while memories he had buried began to surface. He remembered Evelyn's laugh, the way she sketched buildings on napkins, the way she touched her stomach unconsciously when she was stressed. His chest tightened. When he arrived, the house was small but well kept. Wind chimes clinked softly. A bicycle leaned against the porch. This was not the life of a woman who had chased his money. Evelyn opened the door and froze. Time had been kind to her in quiet ways. Lines of worry etched her face, but her eyes still held that steady intelligence. Fear flickered there now. "You came," she said. "I didn't know," Daniel replied hoarsely. "About the child." "I know," she said. "That's why I stayed away." Inside, a young man sat at the kitchen table, textbooks spread before him. He looked up, and Daniel felt the air leave his lungs. The resemblance was undeniable. Same sharp jaw, same dark eyes, same intensity that had stared back at Daniel from mirrors his whole life. "This is Lucas," Evelyn said softly. "My son." "My son," Daniel corrected silently, his heart pounding. Lucas stood slowly. He was tall, athletic, guarded. "You're Daniel Blackwood," he said flatly. "The billionaire." Daniel nodded. "And you're brilliant, apparently. Top of your class. MIT bound." Lucas's eyes narrowed. "You ran a background check on me?" "I run background checks on everything," Daniel said, then softened. "But I'm here because your mother is in danger. And so are you." That night, Evelyn told him everything. She had uncovered something she shouldn't have while working as a consultant on a redevelopment project, a shell company laundering money through infrastructure contracts. She'd followed the trail, not realizing it led to a powerful criminal syndicate with political ties. When she refused to stay silent, threats followed. Cars circling the house. Phones tapping. A warning note slipped under the door. Lucas had been followed home from school. "I didn't want your world," Evelyn said, voice breaking. "But I need your protection." Daniel looked at his son across the table, and for the first time in his life, he was terrified of losing something he had just found. Daniel moved them into a secure estate within 48 hours. Armed guards. Surveillance. Silence agreements. Lucas hated it. "You can't just buy safety," he snapped one night. "You think money fixes everything." Daniel flinched, not because of the accusation, but because it was true. The syndicate struck faster than expected. A trusted security contractor was bribed. Information leaked. One of Daniel's own executives, someone he had mentored, was implicated. Betrayal cut deeper than bullets. The attack came at night. Drones. Black SUVs. Gunfire ripping through hedges. But the fragile, hard-won chance to be forgiven, and to become the father he never knew he was meant to be. Daniel pushed Lucas and Evelyn into a reinforced panic room as alarms screamed. His heart hammered, not for himself, but for the son whose existence rewrote every rule he lived by. "You stay here," Daniel ordered. "No," Lucas said, meeting his eyes. "You don't get to disappear again." The words hit like a confession and a curse. They survived the attack, but barely. In the aftermath, Daniel did something unthinkable. He went public. He exposed the syndicate with evidence so devastating it shook governments and collapsed corporations. He named names, including his own executive. The media frenzy was nuclear, but the cost was personal. Daniel's stock plunged. Allies vanished. Power slipped through his fingers. Yet every night, Lucas sat beside him, asking questions. Not about money, but about choices. Why didn't you fight for Mom? Why did you believe control was love? Why did it take danger for you to show up? Daniel had no defenses left. "I was afraid," he admitted. "And I confused fear with strength." Lucas absorbed that quietly. The syndicate was dismantled. Arrests followed. Evelyn's name was cleared. Safety returned, but nothing else would ever be the same. Months later, the world saw a different Daniel Blackwood. He stepped down as CEO. The shockwaves were immediate. He founded a foundation instead, funding ethical infrastructure, whistleblower protection, and education. He insisted Evelyn lead its design arm. Lucas enrolled at MIT, but came home every holiday. One evening, standing on the balcony of a modest estate Daniel had chosen deliberately, Lucas finally spoke the words Daniel never dared to ask for. "You can't erase 18 years," Lucas said. "But you're here now." Daniel nodded, throat tight. "I will be. Every day you'll let me." Evelyn watched them from the doorway, tears glistening, not of regret, but of cautious hope. The past had stolen time. Pride had stolen trust. But courage had given them something else. A future. Earned, not bought. And for the first time, Daniel Blackwood understood what true wealth was. Not power. Not legacy.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.